scoring 10 under the terms of Wilfred Nancy. And we will see how the second 45 minutes unfolds as the Rangers players return to the field. And there is the change we were expecting, and confirmation of that change. It's the man on the yellow card, Tilo Asgard, who has gone off. So Mo Diamondi comes on for his 11th Old Firm game, replacing number 11. It'll be interesting to see what impact he has on the game. Well, in season 24-25, Celtic took 10 points from Rangers. Rangers took 1 Old Firm point. Last season, Rangers took more Old Firm points for the first time in 4 seasons, taking 7 points from Celtic. Celtic gathering 4. Celtic still went on to win the title. Here, Celtic looking to make a statement and get some clear green water between themselves and Rangers. Underway in the 45 minutes. The Rangers will try and get back into things. Will Celtic rue the fact that they didn't get that killer second goal?
And I suppose the next challenge for Celtic is, can you maintain the levels that you showed in the first half? Can you maintain the energy and the creativity that you had? Or was that a flash in the pan? This is what people will want to try and see in the second half.
Chermiti beaten by Trusty. Connor Barron. There's Raskar. Gassama made the run. Easily mopped up by Celtic. And quickly onto the attack they go. And tracking back was Fernandez. Celtic get their first corner.
Once again, Celtic win the ball and just simply play the ball down the side of a Rangers centre half, and they're almost in on goal. I'd be amazed if Danny Rule has not spoken about that at half-time and warned his 2 centre halves about their positioning and trying to help each other and cover for each other. Fernandez pulled John Tudor out of a hole.
So Weston Trusty wanders up. Johnny Kenny being marshalled by Chermiti on the angles. Has the ability. Sweeps it in. Yells away, breaks down to McGregor. I thought that took a little nick going wide. Callum McGregor thought so too. Referee said no.
It's a lovely strike, isn't it? It falls to his right foot as well. It's hard to see whether it actually does deflect off someone or take a nick. It does actually. There you go. I think it's Diamondi's foot.
Yep.
And that could so easily have taken a deflection and went into the other side of the corner past Jack Butland, but good intent once again from Celtic. Start of the second half.
Callum McGregor got a goal against Rangers in the League Cup semi-final. 6 goals against Rangers. Just a presence that Celtic always value. Referee is going to give the foul. Oh, Stephen McLean. Very little in Scottish football Stephen McLean hasn't seen, and he will not be influenced by anybody on the jury in blue or green and white.
I mean, that's just stupidity from Nico Raskan. That probably sums up where he is in the game today. Came in with big hopes of dominating the game and being the key midfield player. He's been miles away from it. He's had no influence in the game whatsoever. And he's now restricted to trying to pull Arnie Engels back and drag him back when his team are in a good position.
Well, Arnie Engels got picked on at the start of the first half. He gets picked on at the start of the second. I'm sure he won't be overly concerned. His side leading. Fernandez forced into the error. Tierney. Raskan stretching. Diamondi back to Raskan. Can't link up with Chermiti, and again Celtic try to come forward. Rangers battle there. That's better from Rangers. Moore tried to open up Chermiti, but look who was back there. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, a completely different player from what he's been in recent weeks, guys, and I've got to say. But I just look at that Rangers front three. There's no synergy amongst them, Paul. There's no connection between them. When you look at the Celtic front line, this probably sums it up. That's probably their best touch, and there you go. He can't complete the pass. It's as if it's three individuals playing, and there's no real link-up or cohesion between them. When you think of Johnny Kenny and Negrin and Engels and Yang and Dyson Meira, there's a real connection amongst them this afternoon, and that's where Celtic have been so much better.
Right that time. You saw it. Sterling wants it back. Sterling's got a bit of pace. Two in the box for Rangers. The cutback was to neither. It's the first time we've really seen Sterling get a chance to come clear. Raskan might take this through. Raskan, opportunity into the middle, and Rangers have equalised. Chermiti has scored. And after a game where they've been really up against it, somehow Rangers are level. Celtic 1, Rangers 1.
Well, I just said a couple of moments ago that Nico Raskan has had minimal impact in the game so far. And eventually he takes the shackles off. He does what he does best, and he gets in beyond. He gets behind Celtic's back line. It's good play by Diamondi, I've got to say. Austin Trusty, it's poor defending. And Chermiti, if you're going to get your first Old Firm goal, you might as well get it with a touch of class. It's a wonderful finish. It's much better from Raskan, that drive and run. When the ball comes back, Chermiti with a little Croy flick into the net, and out of nothing, Rangers suddenly find themselves in a game where they should be miles behind their level.
Well, that's a finish. The more you look at it, the more you realise what a great finish it was under such pressure. Well, he's grateful for it, and so are the Rangers fans.
As an Old Firm player, you're always judged against your biggest rivals, whether that's a goalkeeper keeping clean sheets, whether it's a centre forward scoring goals. And he knows that first half they needed more goals for their dominance in the game. Rangers suddenly find themselves level.
Rangers 0-0 against Falkirk. They scored in the next 7. They've now scored in the next 8. And Celtic's run of conceding under Wilfred Nancy continues. They haven't kept a clean sheet since they beat Dundee under Martin O'Neill by 1-0 at the start of December. The whole tone of the game shifts now, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And now the Celtic players have questions to answer. Can they drag themselves back into front in the game? It's all about composure, all about assurance. Right out the tough moments and then build your way back into the game. But Rangers, certainly, their tails are up. The body language has changed. You can tell now how they're trying to snap into tackles.
That's one of the oldest cliches in football. It is a cliche for a reason. Goals change games. And this game is changed. What will Celtic do? Here's Yang. Provided the spark in the first half. Negrin. Held up by McCowan. That's a minor. Butland with a block. Had to be out quickly. Sterling turns it behind. Big moment for the Rangers goalkeeper.
Brilliant play by Celtic once again, though. This rate of pass from Luke McCowan is absolutely top class. But how can a player find space in your 18-yard box amongst your back four? That shouldn't be allowed. And Jack Butland comes to the rescue. Dyson Meira will know he should have scored.
Engels with a corner. Shouts of away, but it's not been sent away. Celtic with a chance. Kenny with the opportunity. Laid back. McCowan has a look. Almost turned round the corner. It was gentle from Tierney. Time stood still for that Rangers defence.
I have to say it's unconvincing defending once again from Rangers. I wouldn't be convinced that they can get through the rest of this game without conceding another goal. But Jack Butland, we spoke about his error in the first half, but he's had a couple of huge saves in this game to keep his team in it.
Raskan. Here's Mikey Moore. Moore on the inside corner. Barron brings it under control. Barron with a turn. That will be a corner. Never scored against Celtic for Aberdeen had scored against Rangers, Conor Barron. But all of a sudden, Rangers aren't happy with being level. They're looking for more.
Well, they've got a real injection of belief from the goal that they scored. They were probably warned at half-time that they could not go out and reproduce that same performance in the second half as what they did in the first half. And to be fair to them, they've taken up the baton. I mean, they've had the opportunity, they've taken the battle and the fight to Celtic.
Rangers' first corner of the second half. Same result as the last one of the first half. Doesn't beat the first man. Yang. Oh, it's brilliant from Yang. Here comes Celtic. They've got two in the middle. They can get it across. Well, was that a late challenge on Johnny Kenny? And the answer is yes. Credit to the striker for getting the ball away. Makoma, he was watching. He got it away, but his teammate's going in the book. Clumsy.
Yeah, it's a late tackle, isn't it? But just, again, the willingness of Johnny Kenny when the ball breaks and there's a chance to run forward and penetrate the Rangers' back line. Very admirable for him. Just his weight of pass, he just couldn't take out Dujon Sterling, or Celtic would have been in.
So Gusama with the second card of the afternoon. Rangers being asked to move back behind the spray. Angles. Subbing his first 3 Old Firm games, now started the last 5. Callum McGregor, the skipper, is telling him what he's expecting. And it goes, there's the header, and up and over. Well, Jack Butland with the save. Yang almost got a second.
Yeah, it's a good move, isn't it? Someone has to be in that near post area, you would think, as a Rangers defender. Yang just unmarked, just drifts into that near post area. It's a good header, but comfortable save by Jack Butland.
Makoma, that's going to... Spin back, he's going to have to play it. McGregor back to Ingles, trying to find a way through. Challenge was fair. Celtic might get an opportunity. Yang with his first misplaced pass. McCowan, McGregor, Ingles again, good ball into the middle. Any takers? Yang deflected. Well, he's at the centre of everything at the moment, Yang.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic game, we've got to say. Probably not the one player we expected in a green and white jersey to step up and carry the fight, but he has done. Credit to him. There's his header at the near post again. Jack Butland, could he have caught it? Possibly, but better not taking any risks. And just after that shot that deflected off Benjamin Negrin, I can see Nico Raskren just asking his players to settle down, just take a breath, calm down. Because since they've got the goal, Celtic have really upped the levels again.
Comes forward, knocked out of play. You mentioned that the run, that Rangers didn't have a man outside the post or on the post. They were also exposed at the back post as well. Johnny Kenny was in a million miles of space. You have to question, how are they setting up?
Well, it's a zonal marking system they're putting in place, but it's dead. It's so tight. The zonal marking is supposed to cover a bigger area, but it hasn't done, and that's a real worry.
Sterling down the line, given away. McCowan drops it on the inside. Sterling sliding in again. Tierney. McGregor opens things up. Here's Ralston. Yang available. Flips it back inside. Ingles and Yang wanted it back. Yang sees the opportunity. And Butland mops up.
Got to say, fair play to Celtic. Since Rangers got that goal, they've carried the fight. They've regrouped themselves. They're now back in the ascendancy, looking for that moment of brilliance, or that moment where the game opens up and they can create that opportunity. Tyson might has already had one and missed it, but certainly hasn't put them off, and their confidence hasn't been knocked.
One apiece. Celtic and Rangers. Rangers trying to find a way to get ahead for the first time this afternoon. It's opening up for them. There's the chance, and there's the goal. What an afternoon it's been for that man. Youssef Chermiti gets a double, and Rangers have come from behind to lead at Celtic Park.
Well, you talk about masters of your own downfall. Celtic have a throw-in around the halfway line. Tony Ralston takes it short. Callum McGregor comes back to Tony Ralston. I think he tries to chip the ball back to Austin Trusty. And from then on in, it's all about Youssef Chermiti. There it is, that little flick, just put it down the line. Austin Trusty, I think, as well, has to engage at some stage with Youssef Chermiti. He can't be allowed to travel unopposed 20, 30, 40, 50 yards into your 18-yard box. He has to get across. If he squares the ball to Conor Barron, there's nothing he can do about it. But he has to engage with the player with the ball. He doesn't. And wow, we spoke about this young man ahead of the game. We spoke about the price tag that's possibly been weighing him down. What a way to introduce yourself in an Old Firm derby with 2 goals, and just look at the difference in managers. Wilfred Nancy cannot believe that his team have managed to find themselves 2-1 down, and Danny Rule is absolutely ecstatic.
For all the play and for all the possession, Celtic are behind. The side scoring first in the Scottish Premiership have lost just one of the last 28 meetings. Rangers going ahead through Ramsey in April 2022, Celtic coming back through Rogic and Cameron Carter-Vickers. But Rangers have come from behind in this remarkable Old Firm fixture. They have scored more goals away from home than they have at Ibrox this season, Rangers, and that is continuing.
Scottish football never fails to deliver, never fails to dig up a surprise or a shock. There's no way we could see this coming at half-time. Not a chance.
I think we're more trying to figure out how long the game would be live.
I agree with you.
Well, Celtic have it all to do now. Callum McGregor needs to steady his troops. There's the 1-2. There's the chance! Maida. My oh my. Maida's wide.
Oh, he knows himself. I have to say, look at the play. One-touch play. There you go. Touch in there. Boom. Another good touch. Lovely layoff by Johnny Kenny. He's been exquisite at times this afternoon, Johnny Kenny. Look at that. And Dyson Maida, the one play you want it to fall to. He just cuts across it a little bit too much. It just fizzes wide, but encouragement once again for Celtic. And I did say I'm not convinced this Rangers back line can keep a clean sheet between now and the end of the game. They're far too open and far too easy to play against.
Can Rangers find a way to get back-to-back wins at Celtic Park, having won here by 3-2 back in March? Raskin, Diamonde, Igaman. Rangers leading by 2-0 on that occasion, pegged back to 2 apiece. But here they've come from behind. April of 2022, Rangers came from behind to beat Celtic in a Scottish Cup tie. But at the moment, few would believe, if you've watched the first half and if you've missed the next 17 minutes, A, where have you been? But B, you wouldn't believe the scoreline you're seeing.
No, absolutely not. The Celtic fans are shell-shocked inside Celtic Park, and I have to say, when the second goal went in, I think we were both shell-shocked. We couldn't see it coming. But credit to them, they've dug deep. They've had to ride their luck. They've been really incisive when their chances have been presented to them, and that's been the difference between the two sides. Now it's finally poised. Now the onus is on Celtic again. They've got to go chasing. They may leave themselves open, they may leave themselves exposed. More opportunities for Rangers, but they have to keep carrying the fight.
Well, the introduction of Mo Diamonde certainly brought a spark to Rangers. I'm even sure that man thought it would make as much difference as it has. Wilfred Nancy, if he loses this match, the last 3 Celtic managers to lose their first Old Firm game include Gordon Strachan, Tony Mowbray and Ange Postecoglou, so it's not an unusual occurrence, but it might mean something more to his future tenure than the others.
The thing is, the first half was as good as they've been under Wilfred Nancy. At times it's hard to look beyond that. They have been, however, we all know the nature of this business in football, particularly against your deadliest rivals. You have to win, find a way to win. Performance sometimes is irrelevant. Yes, he'll take the positives up to this point, but they're trailing by 2 goals to 1, and they haven't been good enough defensively, Paul, to get themselves a clean sheet.
No clean sheets now in the last 8 for Celtic. It's the Rangers fans who are having a little bit of fun. One of the songs that we've heard around Celtic Park at almost every game this season has been that well-known tune, Sack the Board. The Rangers fans now indulging in Keep the Board.
The irony of Scottish football. It's never lost on us.
Nah, banter is unbeaten. That's a free kick.
And that's over to Wilfred Nancy. Does he stick with what he has? Does he look towards his bench? He's got the likes of James Forrest, who could potentially come on and make something happen. He's got Paolo Bernardo in midfield if he needs an extra little bit of impetus. Ray Watati is another one who scored goals in this fixture. So if nothing changes in the next 5 or 10 minutes, he's going to have some sort of intervention to get a side back into this game.
Julian Araujo is the new signing from Bournemouth, the fullback. It's unlikely we'll see him. Here's Connor Barron. Yang. Fernandez reads that ahead of Johnny Kenny that time. Raskan away from Maida. Rangers looking more comfortable within themselves.
Yeah, and the problem for Celtic now is when they gamble even more and they leave gaps and these spaces in behind, the Rangers could go and capitalise and even get a third. It seemed unthinkable in the first half.
Gassama trying to pull Celtic wide, now drives into the area. Gassama fancied his chances, closed down by McGregor. That will be a goal kick.
Got to say it's been a brilliant spectacle, Paul. Really enjoyed it. Sometimes you give the games a big build-up and they fail to deliver. This game has delivered. It really has. There's been great intensity, bits of quality, individual errors, plenty of effort. And the players on show have really delivered a wonderful spectacle for us to watch.
Can't take your eyes off this one. Celtic and Rangers head to head. Almost in the final quarter of the match. Sterling fancies his chances against Tierney. Tierney recovers. Kieran Tierney gives you absolutely everything. Like I said, I didn't expect to see that hole, but he's coming on. Araujo comes on. He was on the bench for Bournemouth against Chelsea the other night, the 2-2. He's barely played this season, just a couple of appearances. That's a gamble.
Yeah. Well, it isn't, it isn't, because he needs something to happen, and he's something a little bit different. You don't know what he's going to give, you don't know what he's going to produce. So I have to say, he's got blistering pace, loves getting forward. So that's another challenge for Rangers to try and have to deal with. I think he'll go and play as a right wing back, and Yang will come and play on the left. So interesting move by the manager, but if you bring a new player in, Paul, stick him in the biggest game and see what he's got.
Mexican internationalist is on the field. The Rangers have earned themselves a corner. Araujo going with a long sleeve jersey. Wants to know who he's picking up. The sooner we go back to you got to put the ball on the white line in the quadrant, the better. This trying to get it to hang over bitterness. Rangers send it deep. Schmeichel will gather, and Suter helps him to the ground. Knew what he was doing. And Stephen McLean waves him away. Was this naughty?
I think he actually doesn't really see him. I think he lands. You can see John Suter, he's actually facing away from the goalkeeper. I don't think he realised Kasper Schmeichel was as close to him. It wasn't as deliberate as what I initially thought, having watched it. I've got to say, it's a poor corner kick into the box from Meg Homa. I think that'll disappoint Danny Rule more than anything.
With the opportunity just to add some pressure. Osama is enjoying this. Raskan trying to get away from Yang. Diamondi.
I'm not convinced the goal scoring's over yet, Paul. I still think there's another twist in this somewhere along the line. There's more than at least one goal in this. You can just tell both sides are still happy to go forward and chase forward and may leave themselves open and exposed at the back. It's then, can you find that cutting edge?
Chermiti is on a hat-trick. Last Rangers player to score a hat-trick against Celtic was Ali McCoist. What a hero he could become if he could find another goal. Anthony Ralston is down. You mentioned, you know, you expect more goals. At what point do Rangers potentially just decide, look, we're going to shut up shop?
Yeah, well, that's the manager will have to recognise that when he thinks he's edging towards the game. And does he bring an extra centre half on? Does he bring an extra defensive midfield player on? But at the minute, I think he's getting enough encouragement that there's possibly more goals there for his side. So when you feel that in a game, you want to keep pushing on. You don't want to put a negative message onto your players whenever they're in the ascendancy.
Well, one or two thought that might have been out of play, but Rangers will continue. Gusala sends it deep.
Just you mentioned about Chermiti potentially being on a hat-trick. I think if you went to the bookmakers this morning and asked for odds on that, they'd get said you can have whatever odds you want. Which just shows you how football sometimes can turn the tables.
In case of name your price. Rangers pushing forward. Again, the referee allows play to continue. But Rangers spring. Here's a chance for Moore. Oh, it's through the goalkeeper and in. What a remarkable second half it has been for Glasgow Rangers. They've come from one behind to lead by 3-1. Rangers look set to take 3 points. Wilfred Nancy, well, will he still be around at the end of the day?
Well, you can tell by his reaction, Wilfred Nancy. We spoke about Jack Butland in the first half. When Yang opened the scoring, I think Kasper Schmeichel has to save this one. There's not a lot of power, there's not a lot of pace on the ball. It's a decent enough strike, but you'd expect a goalkeeper of his quality and his experience and his ability to keep this out. It's a good drive and run by Mo Diamondi. You mentioned that he's made an impact in the second half, but from there, he just reacts too late. The ball's past him before he gets his hand down to the ground. He's got to expect the shot is going to go back across from Paul. He doesn't do that. He tries to guide it with the ball, misjudges it completely, and somehow the ball squirms under his arm. And remarkably, Rangers lead at Celtic Park somehow by 3-1.
Well, Callum McGregor's seen a lot, but this is a horror show. And Mikey Moore, well, he can't quite believe it either. You know yourself, sometimes you let a shot go and you think, yeah, okay, it's not enough. I'm not sure he expected that to land on the back of the net.
I think it was more hope than expectation from Mikey Moore. He was just trying to dig a shot out. And the concerning thing will be they went from being so good in the first half, so organised, so disciplined, so dominant, to ship 3 goals. It's a travesty from a Celtic perspective.
Celtic have lost 21 goals in the league this season so far. 12 of them have come under the guidance of Wilfred Nancy. John Suter is the man who's down. Rangers scoring 3 goals back-to-back at Celtic Park, having won here by 3-2 back in March. Well, Shinyamada's coming on. Johnny Kenny is going off. Benjamin Nigan is going off as well. Rio Hitati is coming on. I mean, it's easy to say we're watching you know, in the manager's calls to make, I would have kept Johnny Kenny on. I think he's shown enough today to still be on the park, but the manager has decided it's striker for striker.
And it will go back to the argument that Celtic are playing a back three and only one of them is a natural central defender. Only one of them has that natural instinct as a defender, because Tony Ralston likes to get forward, Kieran Tierney likes to get forward. They don't have the same instinct as what a central defender does, which is defending your box and your positioning and things like that. And it was easy in the first half, it was all fine in the first half, but the second half has been a collapse.
Can Celtic find a way to rebuild? 2 goals down. Came from 2 down at Celtic Park in March. They did lose the game in the end, but they were 2 down at home. Well, in football, sometimes you think you've seen just about everything, and then a game like this comes along.
It's now then suddenly you start digging out the stats about the games they've won, the goals they've scored, their goal difference. You talk about attacking football. Wilfred Nancy spoke a lot about attacking football. And the thing is, 8 games, the goal difference is -8.
Yeah.
-8. That's not attacking football. That's, some will say, kamikaze football, because you leave yourself so exposed at the back.
Chermiti. Mikoma goes in there. Araujo sends it out of play. Well, he was sitting on the bench just a couple of days ago. Wonder what he's making of this. Sean Maloney was assistant to Martin O'Neill. Well, he might be back before you know it. Not sure Martin O'Neill will come back. That's a possible. But Sean Maloney might be the man to guide them.
I think that's Paul Tidsteel standing beside him,
Yep.
Director of Football. So if the game stays as it is, Paul, Celtic board have a big decision to make. You either back the manager and give him money. First half, really encouraging. But the collapse and the downfall in the second half, and the manner of the goals and the way they give the goals away, has to be a major concern.
Well, I think there'll be concern here for some of the Celtic board. You don't want anybody being intimidated, but the fans will make their noise. The Celtic executives, it's a very uncomfortable place to be sitting at the moment. I mean, the board also have to carry some responsibility. If you hire someone...
That's it. If you bring a manager in and they're not winning games, and you think the last 12 or 13 years, Celtic have been completely dominant in Scottish football. They've won every trophy, they've won quadruple trebles. They've done well in the Champions League at various stages. They've won major cups. But there's an expectancy here to win games of football. And it looks like it's going to be 6 defeats in 8 games for a new manager. That certainly doesn't bode well. You either back him or they have to move him on. That's the call they will be questioned with, Paul. That's what they have to do, one or the other.
Celtic trying to come forward. Well, Celtic have already lost more games this season in the league than they did last season. They've lost 5, they lost 4 last season. The last Celtic manager not to get a long time was John Barnes, who got 29 games. He lost 8 of them. He lost 5 of 20 in the Scottish Premiership. That's 1 and 4. This will be another defeat in the league. They might get away back here. But Butland, well, you can tell by the smile on his face that he's thrilled that Engels' ball fell into his palms and not behind him.
Yeah, once again, though, simple balls down the outside. Celtic have had so much success of those little slide rule balls down the outside of defenders or the players in defensive positions. They've got away with it so many times. And I've got to say, credit to Jack Butland. After making that mistake for the first goal, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself and crumble a little bit. But he's been pivotal in keeping Rangers in this game when they've been through the tough times. Save after save.
Good defensive work too from John Souttar. Well, with 12 minutes to play, Rangers have got into we're going to take our time mode, which will infuriate the crowd. Danny Raw will be absolutely thrilled. Matthias Catherine back. Here's Gassama, surely not a fourth. Here's Raskan. Raskan. He's going to draw the free kick. And Diamondi tells him no hurry. Player's perspective, my perspective, I think there's a huge difference between 3-1 and 4-1. 3-1's a loss, 4-1's a thumper.
Yeah, I have to say, if it goes 4-1, it puts the manager under serious pressure. Even though at this moment he is under pressure, if it goes 4-1, it becomes serious pressure, because what you've done in the first half and how you played is gone. It's completely obliterated, and you're judged on the second half performance. What you said at half time, why the players didn't step up second half, and the manner of the goals and how you capitulated is a worry.
Diamondi and Schmeichel with a punch away. Celtic trying to find a way through. Baden. Oh, somehow kept that in play. Gassama on to Moore. Rangers looking threatening. Moore. Raskan. There's the ball on the angle. Gassama not a million miles away. And it's now Celtic being unpicked by the passes.
Yeah, they just... When you're chasing a game and it's going against you, you become really ragged. You make substitutions, you try and make something happen. Discipline goes from players because they're just thinking getting forward all the time. And that's where if Rangers, when they win the ball, if they can just pick the right pass, compose themselves, don't try and force the issue, the gaps and the opportunities may just open up for them. But Celtic have to keep going forward. If they can get a goal in the next 4 or 5 minutes, there has to be a real final push towards the end of the game to try and get an equaliser at least.
If I'm right, and I'm going to try and check my arithmetic, one more goal for Rangers not only would cement the win, would put them above Celtic into second. The goal difference coming into today was +4 in Celtic's favour, and that has been wiped away. And for some of these Celtic fans, they have seen enough. And at half-time, if you'd said to them, look lads, you'll be leaving early, they'd be thinking, yeah, that's because we're ahead by 2, 3 or 4.
This has been a theme under Danny Rowe at Rangers, where they've won games, they haven't always played well, they probably haven't always deserved the win, but they've found a way to make it work, they've found a way to make it happen. And this is exactly what's happened this afternoon. For a long spell, Celtic have been the better team, they've had the better chances, and Jack Butland's been the busier goalkeeper, but sometimes there's a manager that lands in your favour.
So Ralston on to McGregor. Celtic looking for a route back into this one. You fancy if they can get one, they could get two. And it's the old story. Chermiti needs to look after the ball better than that from the Rangers' perspective. Tierney. Well, I think there's a bit of an element of being fed up in that challenge. You could see just the way he thumped the ball out and he reacted.
You've got to give a little bit of credit to Youssef Chermiti as well, Paul, because arguably had his best game in a Rangers jersey on Tuesday night against St Mirren. Didn't get his goal. Today, he's been fine, he's been effective at certain stages, but he's found a way to go. And he's just given Rangers a different dynamic that they possibly haven't had in some games. He's 21 years of age, he's got that weight of the £8 million or £9 million transfer fee on his shoulders. A lot's been expected of him, and he's had to take the criticism. And a day like today has to be the catalyst for him to move forward and his Rangers career to go on an upward trajectory.
Just his 10th start in a Rangers jersey, and he's doubled his goal tally from 2 to 4. Won the last 17 Scottish Premiership at Celtic Park. Celtic have taken 48 points to Rangers 11. Such has been their dominance on their home ground. And all of a sudden, Celtic are looking at so many questions, but is there a way back? Yang, lovely ball on the inside. Itati, it's deflected, and Sterling gets it away. Ralston on the inside, Angles to McGregor. Araujo. Has he run up his team a corner? Yes, he has.
Yeah, they want a grandstand finish, Celtic. They want to get a goal. They want to try and put this Rangers backline under pressure and see if they can force Rangers back and possibly get an equaliser, but they need to get it to 3-2 just to give themselves a bit of time to work with.
Here's the opportunity for the ball to be swung in. Celtic trying to find a way. Connor Barron winning the header. Here's McGregor, can hit them. Scored great goals this season against Rangers and St Mirren from that kind of distance. Hitati plays it in. The header, Butland picks it out the air. Well, Kieran Tierney had stayed forward. And Kieran Tierney never scored against Rangers, forcing the photographic save from Jack Butland.
Yeah, I think Connor Barron was asking for a free kick. It would have been interesting to see if VAR would have had a look. There was a slight contact. I'm not too sure there was enough for a foul, but safe hands from Jack Butland.
Yang. Connor Barron trying to draw the foul and does so. The other thing that's remarkable, sorry, you know, I watched Celtic against Dundee United, good first half. Dundee United were all over the place in the second half. It was like a switch had been flipped. It's similar here. Celtic tend not to lose when they get the opening goal. They tend to be a team you can really bank on, but this will be the second time under Wilfried Nancy's tenure that they'll have lost having scored the opening goal.
And I think they'll have to look into what's happened in the second half. Clearly when it goes to 1-1, it was probably against the run of play. And I think it was a shell shock to the Celtic players, but they have to recover quicker then. You've got to clear your head and get out of your system as quick as you possibly can. You did ask when Rangers would batten down the hatches and probably enjoy their lead and try and see it out. I think now is the case. They're going to take a winger off and bring on James Tavernier. Just a bit more solidity, as opposed to the ambition of trying to go and get a fourth goal. They don't need a fourth goal. Just manage what you have and keep it as is.
Gassama off, the skipper on. Don't think he realises he's got the captain's armband up the wrong way. A mere detail.
And of course he was asked ahead of the game, wasn't he, Danny Rule? Does he need a signature win? Does his team need a signature win? Just to give them that little bit of belief that they could possibly go on and win the Scottish Premiership. Remarkable to think as it stands there back in the title race. Hearts are now looking over their shoulders at Rangers and Celtic, not just Celtic anymore. This could be the win that catapults them forward to really go and drive. Surely then there has to come some sort of investment in January just to back this group up.
The Hearts have beaten Rangers and Celtic this season already on a couple of occasions. They'll have a chance to go, as it stands, 6 points clear of the two Glasgow clubs should they beat Livingston. And later on today, that game kicking off in about 45 minutes. But Celtic, the fans have ebbed away. The belief appears to have gone with it. 3 minutes to conjure up an escape.
Yeah, there's no doubt the third goal really took the energy from the Celtic players. A 2-1 they really believe for them with a chance, but the third goal just kills them, sucks the life away from them, and they haven't really been able to recover since then. They haven't created a clear-cut opportunity since 3-1 to give them that little jagged injection and energy and enthusiasm again.
Kieran Tierney is withdrawn, so is Anthony Ralston. Liam Scales off the bench. And James Forrest being asked to try and find a way through. It's not the easiest for James Forrest. It's a big day for James Forrest. Appearance 550 as a Celtic player. The last player to do that was Callum McGregor on Tuesday night. Remarkable to have two players that combined for 1,100 games.
Yeah. penny for his thoughts, that's for sure. First half thinking that's it, we've clicked, we're on the way, this is what I've been waiting for. He said, give me time, I'll show you what my team's all about. That was yesterday in a 7-minute press conference where he spoke for 7 minutes non-stop. He thought he delivered today, Paul, but second half nowhere near good enough.
Well, at half-time he was walking on air. By full-time I think he's gasping for it. Trying to keep the breathing steady.
And the questions will come, unfortunately, when you don't win games at a club of the stature and size of Celtic. Then you're going to have to answer the tough questions. People want answers, they don't want excuses. He's going to have to come up with them, not just to convince the Celtic fans and the board, to convince his players that he's the right man to lead them forward.
Well, the Rangers fans won't be allowed to leave, but they will be singing their hearts out for the next hour or so. Mikey Moore getting his first Old Firm goal. And interesting, you know, at one point we thought Rangers were almost out on their feet.
Yeah. It's amazing what a goal can do for you. It's amazing the energy, Paul, and the lift it can give you. Never mind physically, mentally. Rangers needed that lift because they were miles off it in the first half. They looked lethargic, they looked heavy-legged, uninspiring, everything that Danny Rule would have been worried about ahead of the game. That's exactly what they were in the first half. Suddenly, you get the equaliser and you come to life.
Wojciechowski being called upon. Well, he's being allowed the opportunity to come off, to take the applause of those Rangers fans. 2 goals, couldn't find a way to a hat-trick. I'm not sure he'll be overly bothered by that in the end. The last Rangers player to come close to a hat-trick was James Tavernier in a 3-2 loss at Celtic Park when he scored twice. Kemar Roof also got a double back in May of 2021.
Do you think Kevin Thelwell's sitting in a dark room somewhere with a little wry smile on his face? I told you so. He did say he would score goals and he would get better. And that probably will be the case, but Rangers just needed someone instantly.
Yellow card. How's that for making an impact in an Old Firm game?
Well,
silly. Yeah, I mean, I think an impact.
Yeah.
And especially up here.
Yeah, and he's 21 years of age. Football hasn't a big ask for him, but credit to him, he stuck at it. He's accepted the criticism, he's tried to make himself better. The manager will have worked with him, and they will hope that this is the day that his Rangers career ignites.
Contrasting finishes, but both very effective. As we're in stoppage time, Celtic. Can James Forrest spark something? Forrest low. Banner tries to get her away. That could be interesting. None of the Celtic players reacting strongly. You always wonder when a player goes down in the box with the boot beside him. Scales into the middle. Weak shout for handball. Maida battling for it. Still might work for him. Somehow Rangers get it away. Low cross. Scales. Would have been disappointed not to start this one. Here's Yang. Celtic next at home against Dundee United, and that won't be easy. Forrest, no way through. Araujo. Gatati. Suter got the header away.
Yeah, they've stood firm. At times it's been untidy, it's been unconvincing, but they've done the job. They put their bodies in the line, they threw themselves in front of things.
Gatati. Under 2 to play. Forrest. Araujo. Jack Butland, well, I'll tell you what, he fizzed that in the Mexican international. There's once on the books of Barcelona. And Jack Butland standing at his post. Celtic come again. Araujo blocked. Cannot tell you how unusual it is to see so many empty seats at the end of an Old Firm game between Celtic and Rangers at either ground, but especially here in recent times.
I think there was a lot of fear and trepidation from Celtic fans coming into today's game, but they will have been so heartened and encouraged by the first half performance and then so deflated by how the second half's transpired.
Inside the final 60 seconds. Well, the first derby of the season between these two would have sent you to sleep. This one will give Celtic nightmares. McGregor, Butland will come and gather. And he'll stay down there for as long as he can potentially get away with it.
Old Firm games and derby games aren't about the best team that wins, it's about the most efficient side, and you have to say Rangers have been efficient when their opportunity has been presented to them, Paul.
Danny Roll puts his arm round Wilfred Nancy, who simply wants to get down the tunnel. Who can blame him? Will he come out of that tunnel again as Celtic manager? That's going to be the question for the Celtic board. It is a long, long, lonely walk back to the Celtic dressing room. And looking like that, he might think it is all over. Contrast to the other half of Glasgow. Mikey Moore getting his goal, the third goal, which put the game beyond Rangers. Danny Roll enjoying what is his first Old Firm success. Yang played tremendously in the first half, gave Celtic the lead. Youssef Chermiti, it was the day he announced himself as a Rangers player, on the day that Rangers and Danny Roll had their signature win. But it hugged all round for Rangers. Callum McGregor, well, he'll feel absolutely dreadful after this. Where does Celtic go from here? It's Rangers Day in the green and white half of Glasgow. And fair play to the Celtic players for all the handshakes. There'll be an inquest to come as far as Celtic are concerned. But Danny Roll wants all his background team on the field of play. They'll go over to the Rangers fans. The Celtic players, bless them. I don't know about you. I mean, they're going around and saying thank you. I just want to be down that tunnel today.
Yeah, I think the Celtic players, you have to recognise how the game has went, how it's transpired for you. Get yourself up the tunnel. Supporters don't want to see you at this moment in time. They're hurting, they're stinging a little bit. They've just been beat by their biggest rivals. So get yourself down the tunnel, get yourself fixed, get the mindset right for the next game coming up. As for Rangers, they've waited a long time for this, haven't they? It's been a challenging season. They've lost their manager. They've got a new manager coming in. He's rebuilt confidence. He's rebuilt the belief within the squad. Today is a big day for them individually. They have to grasp the opportunity they've been presented now. They're in a title race. Can they kick on and be better from here on in? So certainly a day they'll remember. But we know in football, you get into the dressing room, you have your shower, you put your tracksuit on, it's done. What's coming next for you? And Rangers have got Aberdeen during the week.
Aberdeen will come calling on Tuesday night, and then Rangers go up to Pittodrie the following Sunday. But what an afternoon for Youssef Chermiti, and you can see the Portuguese under-21 will enjoy every single moment of the day. Never scored a top-class goal in 25 appearances for Everton, but he gets 2 today to add to the 2 that he had already as a Rangers player. But these mean something, and Mikey Moore also thrilled. What an afternoon it has been at Celtic Park first 45 minutes belonged to Celtic. The second 45 minutes emphatically belonged to Rangers. We'll review the goals next.